You're listening to Puff Digital's Into the Weeds podcast, brought to you in part by Puff Puff Posts and HigherMentality.com.
The new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
Let's talk about when you worked at the group home. How old were you when you were doing that? And what's that about? These guys probably don't know about this.
I worked at the group home. When I was a kid, I got caught stealing, and I was like resisting arrest at this. I stole like a stick of it all CD from like HMV or something. And after that, we used to do it all the time. We'd go in there and just, take a bunch of CDs, sell them back to get some cash and do whatever. But after I got caught that one time, I had to go to a boys and girls club, like a thing to speak with other troubled youth kind of thing. And then after that, later on, I was like, after I went through all that shit, I kind of like opened my eyes to being like, holy fuck, like this is like some of the people I was around was like some fucking Nazis and like some like, and I'm like, I don't deserve to be around these people, I stole,
when you're in the group home, you mean?
Like I stole something, but I'm like, with some of the people I was around, I was like, what? Like this, like they're, like we're all lost, but like this was like, I just like, I got to switch something around.
The most lost.
Yeah. Like this, there's some stuff there. I'm really sensitive to that. Like, like I can feel when, I don't know. Anyways, from that, I got into the group, like this girl that I was dating at the time. She was like, I'm going to go do this. You should try it out. And I went and I ended up getting the job. I had to and I had no schooling, nothing, but like the kids liked me. So like I was there and they're like, cool. Like, would you like to work here? I'm like, sure. And I like, they paid for me to take some courses and stuff like that. And I ran a home for violent offenders and sexual offenders.
Youth.
Yeah. And the one house, like a lot of those kids, I ended up taking them to the same place I went, like at the boys and girls home. I'd take them there. I'm like, everyone get in there. And I took them back to the same person who was like coaching me to be, they're trying to find out what was wrong with me and why I was lashing out, or, and kind of like, like when you go through that rebellious stage of your life kind of thing, that same group of people were helping these kids, so I'd take them. And a lot of the times when I was playing there, I would I'd play to the kids like on the porch and stuff like that. So and like some of them would be into hip hop, and I'm like, oh, I've got this too. So I'd be playing different rhythms for them, and they'd all be rapping and do whatever. And there's like a punk kid that's like so I would play different songs for them all the time, and that kind of gave me I started getting into writing songs from different perspectives.
Oh, really?
So I'd be like, okay, like, and I know all these kids, like I know their files, I know like what's going on, and trying to understand where they're coming from and try to help them. And some of the times I'd write a song and they'd be like, oh, that's sick, dude. And like one kid would cry, and like it was really eye-opening for me because I could reach somebody in that medium, I guess. Is that the right word? Yeah. Like in that form,
Were you there? I worked with the Casada group doing similar stuff out this way in a home, and it was sort of like I've always had to have that balance of filling like my heart and my pocket at the same time. So for me, I was bartending at the time and volunteering while working at the Casada group. But I found that a lot of people that I worked with in there just took it so much as a job that the kids just picked up on it, and they were bummed out. And when they get somebody like Chuck who's in there playing songs with them and actually spending that time and probably caring less about the paycheck than how it's filling your heart.
Well, the thing is, I felt like I was like I can relate to this. Like I was sleeping on the couch there, like I'd do the overnights and stuff, and I'm like a lot of these kids turned into like parts of my family. Like I'm spending so much time with them. I know the ins and outs like of what these kids are going through, and I can relate to it. So like I got like it's kind of selfish, but it's like a good selfish, because like it made me feel good to do this shit, but I also felt that I was making a difference about it, and like, and it was, and like the turnaround for some of those kids that are so lost in that shit, it opens you up to a new world. Like a lot of people don't understand that like there's a group home on that street, and you don't know what like half those kids have been through, and half the shit's not their fault.
No, they've been.
They didn't do that. They were put into this system. The system just takes them, just throws them into this fucking place, and it's like, okay, fend for yourself.
Yeah, there's like abuse by the parents, and then they get pulled out from the parents' home, and they get put into a foster home. And there's abuse at the foster home.
Yeah, well, there was a dude that I worked with. This guy would come in after his other job, and he was like, he grabbed this kid Duncan, and he was just taking him and like whipping him on the floor, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And this guy could murder me. He was just a massive dude. And I was like, dude, like you can't do that. I'm like, I can't take it. Like this is not good. and he was just like, fuck you. Like, some of the people are there for the wrong reasons, you know? And I think that, and like, I was happy that they gave me the opportunity to do it without the schooling and stuff, but like, this guy went to the school, like, and did all that other shit, you know? I just took a couple courses, but I just felt like I was supposed to be there at that point in my life, you know? And I really liked being there, and I liked helping out. I liked to be like, you know, there's just that part of me, you know, that I didn't know existed, but when it was sparked, it was like, oh, this is something that I could do. And it was cool to have like a job where you felt like I was like needed, you know, especially in that, because I felt like I fucked up before, and now I'm fucking helping. So it gave me that extra, like, yes, you know, I'm doing it.
But you've one of my favorite stories about you is that you like, you've always kind of been really charitable in that way, or sort of kind of put yourself in the place of people who are maybe have it a little harder than you do. And I remember like you'd be like just coming home from one of the bar jobs you had, you know, whatever fucking bands we were in at that time, and you'd play with like homeless guys. There's one homeless guy you'd go and fucking write songs with. Yeah. Like, what compels you to do something like that? Because that's not something a lot of people just turn away.
Yeah, well, because like you say on Queen Street, there's like the Mission there. And like some of those people, I see them. I'm like, "What's up, man?" Like, a lot of people don't give them the time of day. They're like, some of them are sick, you know. Like like no one wants to just lay on the fucking street and be like, you know, like that's not like, they're not doing well. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" You know, or "How you doing?" Just a conversation that'll change that person's day. You know, or like, I don't know what they've been through. You know, and like I'm gonna give them I'm just gonna talk to them like a person, not like everyone else who steps over them. You know, I thought I'd give them what's up. And so sometimes I'd go down and just play some tunes, and they're like, yeah, like everyone was stoked. So I'm like on my way home, like, "What's up?" Let's play it, like, "Yo, music band, play some fucking tunes." You know, I was like, okay, and I just hang out with them. You know, depending on like, and like, you know, maybe some people are smoking crack and doing this, but like, I'm not gonna judge you on that. Like if that's your thing and that's what's getting you by. Obviously, it's like, you know, I don't condone it, but who the fuck am I to be like, you know, you got to stop doing this, you know? Like, they're doing that for a reason. If they want to get help, they'll get it. But I always thought that no matter what, I'm going to give them the chance.
Is there a similar thread though inside you that feels good about doing that? Like that's kind of like an echo of what you're doing with the kids. Like there's something like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know. I feel like I think everyone's alone. You know, everyone's got that feeling. Somehow that brings me joy. To where I can be like, you know, just to sit there and play, or just to hang out for a bit and just shoot the shit. Like, it's, I don't know. I like the stories. I find sometimes, like, when I'm talking to somebody, I like to know where someone's coming from. You know, like, how did this, like, how did we get here? You know?
Yeah.
Because it's happened to me. Like I've been to like spots in my life where I was like, you know, super low, you know, and I'm like, no one was there to fucking talk or do anything. So like, I think it's kind of that quote, like, being the person that you wanted when you were younger. Kind of thing, you know, like being like, you know, if someone needs help or something, like, you should. For me, I'd like to put myself out like that, to be like, you know, it's not, doesn't take a lot out of my day to say what's up.
Yeah,
you've always been combative in the best way. Our first time ever seeing Chuck, or my first time ever seeing Chuck, was at a Jersey show in Guelph. You might have been playing, in fact. Who knows?
Really?
I don't know if you were there, but it was a Jersey show in Guelph. But that around that time. And Chuck was getting thrown out and yelling at the bouncer, "Fuck you, I'm the spirit of rock and roll."
That's amazing. Wow.
But it's always been combative in the best way. And then after that, we're always like, yo, like, you're just, was the spirit of rock and roll when you played Oshawa or whatever, you know, the dungeon, the place we all used to play. And he's like, was he there? And then he kind of became sort of a quasi legend amongst us. But like the theme of combativeness, like to try to get to where you are, like, I feel like now where you are in life is I mean, there's always shit, you know what I mean? But like, you're much more centered and grounded and reflective of who you may have been in the past. Yeah. But what do you think you, like, okay, when you go back to, like, they're trying to figure out what I was lashing out about, what do you think you were trying to, like, you have been trying to, like, fight for? Like, is it your life the way you want it? Is it just stupid shit you see that drives you mental? Like, what? Do you know what I'm saying?
I always feel like I never, like, I don't know. It's like I'm not fitting in somewhere, or like there's something missing, and like it could be as easy as, you know, if I don't know. Like, I'm just not content. You know, when I was younger, and I was also on a lot of drugs. Like I was doing a lot of, like, I had like 2 overdoses when I was like 22.
Really?
something like that. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm waking
On
up,
what?
waking up in the hospital. I was amphetamines, cocaine, and drinking. So I was like waking up in the hospital every other fucking week. You know, like I broke my hand or broke something. You know, and and like I waking up in the hospital with all this fucking like all the needles in your arms and stuff like that. My buddy Chris is there. He played in Murder Culture. He's there, and the cops are in there trying to figure it out. I'm like, get him out of here. I was like, get this fuckers out. So I'm just laying there, you know. I was like, and I'm like, after seeing that, and I was like, dude, like after a while, you're just like, you can only live that way for so long.
Yeah.
But like your behavior, you know, it's like my moods change on the prescription that I'm giving myself. You know, like if I'm acting insane, it's like, yeah, I'm fucking insane. I was, you know, you shouldn't be. If a lot of like, you know, you're putting that much stuff in your body, you're bound to make some fucking errors. You know, kill yourself, hurt somebody else, or whatever, and then reflecting on that, being like, hey, listen, I gotta, you know, you gotta calm down from that. So I'm not sure, like, so your question though, it's like when I think about it, it's really, I don't know. I think there's just something missing, and I'm not sure what that is yet. Maybe that's another therapy session that I haven't went to. But I think I'm doing a lot better than I was. You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
And
Like,
I think it also has to do with like hanging out with positive people and having better people in your life. You know, like meeting you, meeting all you dudes. Like it means a lot to me. It means that I'm on the right path because I'm here.